People don't care about your business. They care about what your business can do for them. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me. You can stack up the awards, rack up the 5-star reviews. You can brag about being family owned for 30 years. And your customer still looks at all of it and quietly thinks, who gives a shit? So what? How does this help me? And that's the real punchline of today's episode. Your business becomes instantly more compelling the moment you stop talking about yourself and start talking about the outcome you create for your customer. If your marketing has felt like it's falling flat, if people smile, nod, and then scroll right past you, this is the episode that finally shows you why and exactly how to fix it. If you are an entrepreneur, you are an addict. I know, sounds harsh, but who would know better than two addicts and entrepreneurs here on the podcast? If you're tired of your business owning you, this is the podcast for you. We're going to help you break free, have freedom. It's going to be like when Leo was on the front of the Titanic, just Celine Dion. All right, we should probably introduce ourselves. The gentleman to my left, and I use that term very loosely, is Lance Pendleton. Lance Pendleton is an entrepreneur and addict. And you know, Lance, he looks like the kind of guy who says no when the waitress says, is Pepsi okay?
And to my right is my fabulous partner and co-host, Matthew Tompkins, who is an entrepreneur and also an addict. Yes. And Matthew often looks like the person that people encourage to run with scissors.
See, those are supposed to be funny and insulting. That you can't just use these jokes as an opportunity to just say you want me to gouge my eyes out.
Well, again, anybody that knows you would realize you already run the scissors. For fun. We're gonna have to work on your. Okay, anyhow, well, it's better than he looks like a bird watcher hobbyist. Like that's not a thing.
It has to fit. You know, like you look like the kind of guy who attends chuck wagon competitions every weekend. You know, like the shoes.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what a chuck wagon is?
No.
Chucks? What? All stars.
Chuck
Converse?
Taylors?
Yeah, Chuck Taylors.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that was way before my time.
Oh man, we're just kicking this thing off in style with a bang, aren't we? Let's get into something that everybody cares about, and that is the fact that nobody cares about your business. Well, I shouldn't say that. People don't care about your business. You care about your business because you have to. It's your business. It's your livelihood. Everybody else, nobody cares about your business. And this is going to sound really mean. I hate small business Saturdays. I don't like it.
Really? That's shocking because I'm just kidding. I don't love any part of that either. They're terrible.
Here's why. It has nothing to do with the merit of these businesses. It's purely just because they're local. And people get this in their head that, oh, since I'm local, I'm a mom and pop shop, then you have to support me. And it's criminal if you don't. No, I'm sorry. But like, do you have better goods, services, or just better customer service? You know, even if it's more expensive, I can live with better customer service. But people don't care about your business. They only care about what your business can do for them. And that's probably lesson one outside of having like a real problem your business even solves, that I think business owners, entrepreneurs completely overlook.
I had a client this week that I was working with that told me that they were really excited about their upcoming campaigns they were running, and they were talking about we did this and we did that and we hired this new person and we had this great week and I'm like, why does anybody care about any of that? Like who gives a shit? Like at the end of the day, people only care about what you do for them, not what you're doing in that aspect of the business. And so I think it's the first thing that when we talk to people about being good at what they do and good at how they think about what they do is you have to really think about what it is that you do for others.
One of probably the clearest examples I've seen this, and you've seen it a lot because you've worked with, coached a lot of real estate agents as solopreneurs, and they love to be on Instagram. They love the gram, and it has absolutely zero to do with selling a home. Because you got to think, like when people look to find an agent or sell a home, where do they go to Instagram or Facebook? No, they go to Google, YouTube, and so it's nothing to do with that. It's purely to show off for other agents. And I think we get lost in this mix, but like showing off for other businesses and forget that like that's the other business the other companies, they're not the ones buying products from you. They're not your customers. So we used to, one year, this was funny. It was a local marketing agency firm. I use that term loosely. They basically submitted like some videos for us, this National Creative Advertising Awards thing. And they didn't tell us that they entered our videos under their name. So then it was kind of like, Biff Tanner, like, what do you think would happen if I show up Monday? I got your name on my homework. So anyhow, they let it slip at this dinner party. And I was like, oh, we won awards? Like, oh yeah. And it was like really awkward and weird. So then right away the next year I submitted like 11 videos and we cleaned house, right? And I did it just to like kind of rub it in their face. Sure. But then they were like, hey, would you like the trophy? I'm like, yeah, trophies would be cool. 11 trophies. And like, how much is the trophy? Oh, $375 per trophy.
God.
What? What's going on? Wait, okay, hang on. And then I remember we posted it once on Facebook and I said, a bunch of people liked it, shared it, like, hey, that's cool. Way to go. I'm so proud of my son, my nephew. Like, nobody gave a about it. I mean, they didn't. They really honestly didn't. It was like people were saying, it's kind of like when you post your daughter's dance recital, and like you could put a photo of your just bare ass in the middle of the thing, and they would still say, what an adorable performance. Oh God, I watched the whole thing all the way through and it was amazing. Like, no, you didn't. You don't care.
I get very, very often, my favorite time of year in the world of real estate is March, because it's when all of the awards come out for agents, right? And my favorite thing to do is to go on LinkedIn and look at an agent who posts platinum star winner for the brokerage this year, 10th year in a row. And then you look at the comments underneath it, and they're all comments from other agents. Couldn't have been given to a nicer person. Yay. Yeah. And it's like, there's not one client, customer, potential, even like friend of that person. It's just other agents all like placating each other. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a lot of glad handing and just patting ourselves on the back. And you have to ask yourself, I think, a real question. Like, first off, you have to accept that what I've said at the top of this episode is the truth. People don't care about your business. You're the only one who cares. Like, even your own spouse, your family, they don't really care. They care about, we need money. They don't really care about the business. Like, that's your thing. So you have to accept that as a truth. And then I think you have to ask yourself, okay, what is it that I actually want to accomplish? Like, am I going for just pure fluff, ego boost here? Well, then, okay, like marketing is an example, parallel, then post away on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
You're going to have all the fluff you want. You can get your impressions of views up. Yep. Are you going to get any leads, any conversions? Probably not unless you're spending money on ads, and people don't want to hear that because it's like, wait, I got YouTube, I got to start a whole thing. And yes, you need to Google business profile. Yes, that's where it's going to actually work. It's this unsexy part of it, but I don't understand it. And maybe you could not kind of explain like the entrepreneur mindset here of why it is that we get why it is we become our own worst enemy.
Well, I think the first factor you have to recognize is that, again, I really do believe that most entrepreneurs, I think we all suffer from a little bit of insecurity.
A little?
Well, I was trying to be kind on that one, but and I think that driven insecurity, it almost fuels this idea that I have to be constantly demonstrating
validation
that I am good at what I do, therefore feeding that validation loop. And that's a problem that I see a lot.
And it's a common thing. So like when you talk about abandonment issues, rejection, and with ADHD, rejection sensitivity syndrome, and like these are all things. My number one thing I struggle with the most individually is acceptance. It's been it forever. And so it's manifested in different ways. But like even now, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. Like I'm asking ChatGPT, like, what is it? And it's like, here's a 12-week plan. I'm like, it's gonna take me 12 weeks. Like, what? I just want to, but it is very challenging, especially when you are an entrepreneur, because like it or not, you are putting yourself out there. Yeah. You are taking a risk. You are being vulnerable. There is the risk of failure, and it is much, much better. We've seen this with actual like addictions to substances where I'd rather just look the other way, bury my head in the sand. I'm going to post, make it look like everything's fine on Instagram, and just as long as people have the perception that I'm okay and everything's great, that's all that matters, right?
100%. So one of the first steps of solution that I like to think about when I talk to people about this is do the so what test. And it's hard because we want to justify what we've been doing in some capacity. So a lot of my clients, when we sit down, you'll watch them waver because they'll start justifying when they try the so what test.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, and well, no, but they really, you know, but they're going to see this and they're going to really understand that and I'm like, no, but it's no. So the so what test, go through the last 10, 12 things that you've put out as either promotional items, marketing, advertising, any of the different things that you've done, and look at it and ask, so what? And if you look at that and you can think, yeah, you know what? So what? Who cares? Great. That's the first step to realizing I need to change how I'm actually connecting to people and what I'm doing. But if you look at it and it very much says, no, this is exactly what the benefit is that we can do and how we helped, great. I personally, about 70% of the stuff that I would say that we put out there does not pass the so what test.
I would agree with that. And you have kind of this formula here as like this one-liner or mantra where it's, you know, who plus the problem plus the outcome plus the proof. You know, an example, your proposal, or you cut your proposal time by 50% in 7 days.
Yep.
See, 14 client case study wins. I would even simplify that even more for our fellow entrepreneur addicts and say, focus on the end result. You know, that's where we get lost. And it's like, people ask me, why should I do a podcast? Like I'm a kitchen cabinet company. There's only like 3 episodes I could do. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do a podcast about cabinets. That's not what it's even about. It's about what is the life, the end result. Once those cabinets are up, that you're going to have with your family in this beautiful kitchen. You know, that's what in the ads in your website, focus on that end result, but do that for yourself as well as the company. Like, hey, what's the end result you want? Just a view count, a shallow, you know, pat on the back, or do you actually want to get conversion, sales, new business?
Yeah, and I know we'll put in the show notes that formula to use of who, problem, outcome, proof to just make it a little bit easier, a little bit of an explanation on that. I agree 110% with what you said. Anybody listening to this, what I would encourage you to really think about is, can you fundamentally shift the view of what you do into how I help people, how we help people, and not what we're good at? Because that is the first step that takes the pressure off the entrepreneur in a performative manner and puts it back into an emotional context of how we help people, rather than I was this and I was that, and you know, we won 12 awards last year from X, Y, and Z. We've been top 10, because nobody, again, they don't care about that.
You see this run completely out of control on websites, business websites, where we've been in business for over 30 years, family owned and operated for this and this, and it's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay, so what? So what? So what?
Yeah.
You know, that was one thing that I really liked about Donald Miller with when you look at marketing Made Simple, and his book Story Brand prior to that. Really, a story brand, it's very simple. It's not like it's anything he's reinvented anything new. He's given a new title. But it is, in every great story, there's a hero. And, you know, we make the mistake of thinking we're the hero in our customer story. And we think, oh, well, yeah, I'm the hero. I'm going to talk about myself on my website, blah, blah, blah. No, your customer is the hero. You are the guide. You are Obi-Wan Kenobi to their Luke Skywalker. And listen, like, you're the hero in your own story.
Right.
So you have a guide too. But like, you can't be the hero in somebody else's story, or that's just a bad story.
Well, you hit it right in the head. I mean, it's why a big portion of the work that I do, I run a program called the Sherpa program. Why? Because rather than us look at ourselves as the person that's being the mountain climber to demonstrate to you that we're a great mountain climber, if you take the position of being a Sherpa with somebody, we're in partnership in that mountain climbing that project together. It then thereby takes the pressure off. And that's what people want. At the end of the day, you develop and build trust based off of partnership with people rather than expertise. Because again, so many people these days think that they're experts already. I mean, they have access to the internet. They have now ChatGPT and all the AI things. Like, they're not really looking for expertise. They're looking for guidance and partnership in problem solutions and solving things.
We have more information available at our fingertips than ever before in the history of human civilization. And yet we seem to be getting dumber by the minute because we're skipping the connection of like, wait, all right, I read all the books about basketball, but I need a Phil Jackson like to actually coach me how to do this? Like, in the Sherpa, I mean, sure, those Sherpas got it rough though. Have you watched some of the documentaries? Like the ladders, and it's crazy. You know, I hope you're not like endangering yourself in this analogy.
No, but take the actual example, right? So we'll just use an entrepreneur as an example. Cabinet maker, as you said before, has a small business, has a company, has a really good, successful groundwork foundation set up, has some great clients. taking this understanding, if you're saying our cabinets are the best cabinets out there, fundamentally what you're saying then is we're the same as everybody else because everybody else is saying we have the best cabinets out there.
Yeah.
Then the second mistake that I see made often is they'll go into the why they're the best cabinets, right? Well, our cabinets with quiet close hinges, perform for 20 years. Again, things that just about anybody could say. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter anymore. You have to help a consumer, the end user, understand, right? We focus on all of solving the problems that exist in the cabinet industry by making sure that, one, we focus on being on time. We hear from people all the time that our on-time rate, our excellent communication. Let me give you a quote of what someone said, and this was a family that was under a time constraint with a project. Give the examples of it.
You'll appreciate we're never late, and if we are, it's free. Whatever, I mean.
And that's the thing is that if you're not able to then tell stories, as you said, around the idea of how we're partners in a process with you, it's completely lost.
I mean, that's the secret to sales is, as soon as you start arguing the facts, you've lost the sale.
Correct.
A great analogy of this, I think, is a good one to kind of close on. And it's, again, I operate in the world of marketing, so I kind of nerd out on this stuff more than most, but like, it's a perfect example of like knowing your audience and then that so what? So in the 1980s, they came out with the Lisa 2. This would be Apple. Yep. And Steve Jobs, still the founder and CEO, Lisa 2 came out. And at the time, it was legitimately the most revolutionary computer ever. All the specs, right? They took out a 16-page ad, 16 full pages in the New York Times, just detailing out the specs. Okay, well, what happened? Well, the Lisa 2 was a giant flop to the point where Steve Jobs was ousted from his own company and then the company itself went into disarray.
Yep.
You flash forward to when they bring Steve Jobs back in and they've got the iMac is about to come out. They took out a single page ad in the New York Times with 2 words, think different. So if you look at the 16-page ad, they were trying so hard to prove, here's why we're great. And they were making it about them. And they were not sparking curiosity. People don't care about the facts. People care about that emotional investment. So think different. It got their imagination going. Like, oh, like, what does that mean? Like, what's that? And they're now a part of this. It's become like a philosophical problem you solved where they're a part of something bigger than themselves. And obviously the rest is history, as they say, Apple, the most, I believe still the most valuable company on the planet. And it all came from that 1 page, 2 words, as opposed to the opposite. It's really easy. It's really easy to get into this game of arguing the facts and putting ourselves first as the hero in someone else's story. But that's just a recipe for failure.
And I so desperately want to nerd out on the rest of that story because that's the fascinating part since I used to work for Apple.
Okay.
There is a whole addition to that story that's even super nerdier, if I may.
Yes.
That Think Different campaign, but particularly around the iMac, there was no, by the way, Super Bowl halftime show. It did not exist during this time. It was 1984, and they were coming out. So they found this no-name director that no one had ever heard of to film a commercial called 1984, which was a take on that. The campaign, by the way, that they ran on that Think Different was that it was going to be released. Apple was going to show something no one had ever seen before during halftime of the Super Bowl. Lo and behold, the director that they actually used was some guy named Ridley Scott. They did the 1984 campaign. They realized in Nielsen ratings that something insane like 8 to 10 million people sat around to see what that one commercial was. And all of a sudden, that turned into one of the biggest transformations because now that was the foundation of a halftime show because they realized that people would stick around during that to see that. It launched Apple and it launched Ridley Scott's career all at the same time.
And that was the Lisa, I think. Wasn't it isn't that the first one?
Well, Lisa was actually named after his daughter, by the way, but that was the first attempt at it. That failed. But no, that was the first iMac. It was the colored iMacs. Remember the big cubes that they had?
No. iMacs didn't come out until the 90s.
No.
Like the 1984 would have been the Lisa. You had the Lisa 2. I think the commercial you're talking about was the sledgehammer.
Yes, that was the 1984 commercial.
Yeah, that is the, I believe that's the Lisa for the first one. Wasn't it? Well, it's a fact check.
Doesn't matter. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it literally, all those things were things that, they were the first people that.
It was a groundbreaking commercial too, and it also proved that people will stick around and watch commercials.
Yes.
And the commercials half the time become better than the actual game that we watch. So, all right. So in the show notes, right below in this video here, click on the link. You can download that So What ladder. And it's something that, by the way, I hear that a lot on dates from women. I'll be like, hey, and they'll be like, so what? Yeah.
And this is why you run with scissors.
Exactly. Nice callback. Try the So What test right now. You can put it to the test with your homepage on your website. We'll also include some links to some exercises you can do with Donald Miller's story brand and how you can make yourself the hero of your story and not somebody else's. All right. Thanks so much for joining us here. On the next episode, we continue to your business, or as Lance likes to say, he looks like the kind of guy who's really into buck cherry. All right.
I can
remember them?
I do remember buck cherry. And what was the song?
Doesn't like hey, crazy. Yes. Oh my God. And then you had Crazy Train. Yeah. You my little butterfly.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Man, the 90s was a weird time.
I hated music in the 90s.
If this episode opened your eyes to how often you're talking about your business instead of the outcome you deliver, take the next step. Inside the Entrepreneur Addict Marketing course, we help you shape your message so people actually care. Who you help, the problems that you solve, and why it matters to your customers. So click on the link in the description to get started, or just download the Entrepreneur Addict app now. It is free to download and get started building that marketing that finally connects and delivers results.